Cold concrete, empty streets, sunrise still an hour away. A puppy sits alone on the shelter steps, abandoned like forgotten trash. No collar, no note, no goodbye. Just piercing blue eyes staring at a locked door, silently begging it to open. This is where his story should have ended. Instead, it's where everything begins. The shelter worker's hands trembled when she found him, not from the cold, from those eyes. They were unlike anything she'd seen, electric blue, impossibly bright, holding an ocean of questions no one could answer. He didn't cry, didn't whimper. He just sat there with devastating calmness, as if he'd already accepted that this was all he deserved. Her heart shattered. "Who would throw you away?" she whispered, scooping him into her arms. His body was warm, but his story was cold. Someone had driven here in the darkness, placed him on these steps, and driven away without looking back. He was a mystery wrapped in fur. German shepherd coloring splashed across a husky's frame, those impossible blue eyes that didn't match either breed. Beautiful and unexplainable, unwanted. The shelter posted his photo with a heavy caption, "Found abandoned, breed unknown, needs loving home." And listen, if you're watching this unfold and haven't subscribed, I need you to pause and really feel this moment. Right now, Mackie's sitting on those steps thinking he's not enough, that he's broken, that no one will choose him. There are thousands of dogs feeling that exact emptiness tonight. This channel exists because their stories deserve to be heard, because second chances deserve to be celebrated. Because you, yes, you, still believe love can rescue the broken pieces. If you believe that, hit subscribe. Be part of the community that refuses to let these stories go untold. Please. 300 miles away, Haley was spiraling. She sat at her laptop scrolling through shelter websites, her stomach twisted in knots. She and her fiancé were moving in together, and they both wanted a dog. Desperately wanted one, but the fear was suffocating. She'd never had a big dog. What if she couldn't handle it? What if she failed him? What if her love wasn't enough? "Maybe we should wait," she told her fiancé, closing her laptop. Her phone buzzed, a new email from the shelter. She almost deleted it. Then she saw the photo. Time stopped. The world went silent. Those blue eyes reached through the screen and grabbed something deep in her chest, something she didn't know was waiting to be found. She couldn't breathe, couldn't look away. This stranger, this mystery dog sitting on cold steps, somehow felt like coming home. "That's him," she whispered. "That's our dog." "Are you sure?" She wasn't sure of anything except that those eyes were meant to find hers. 2 days later, her hands shook as they drove to the shelter. 2 days later, her fear battled with something bigger, faith. Mackie walked through their front door and made an immediate decision. He was a lapdog. Physics disagreed. He was 50 pounds of muscle and fur, but Mackie didn't care about physics. He climbed onto Haley's lap, sprawled across her like a weighted blanket of pure love, and sighed the deepest sigh of contentment she'd ever heard. Her fear dissolved like sugar in rain. "You're perfect," she cried into his fur. "You're so perfect." While she worked from home, Mackie claimed their bed for afternoon naps. His gentle snoring became her favorite sound in the world. He learned their routines within days, their emotions within hours. When they said Grandma and Grandpa, he'd explode into joyful chaos, spinning in circles like happiness had a physical form.
At the beach, he initially feared the waves, standing at the edge, uncertain, before courage won and he charged into the water, splashing like he'd been born for this freedom. But his real magic lived in silence. Haley didn't tell anyone about the hard days, the days when anxiety crushed her chest and getting out of bed felt impossible. She didn't have to tell Mackie. He just knew.
He'd appear beside her without being called, press his solid warmth against her trembling body. Stay. She'd collapse into him, wrapping her arms around his neck, and he'd lean back with his entire weight, offering everything he was, everything he had. No words, no judgment, just unwavering presence. "How do you always know?" she'd whisper. Those blue eyes would say everything. "Because you saved me, now I save you." Everyone assumed Mackie was a German Shepherd Husky mix. The vet agreed. The papers said so. His appearance screamed it. But Haley needed to know the truth, so they ordered a DNA test. The results arrived on a Tuesday. Mackie was primarily Chow Chow, then Malamute, then Pit Bull, Rottweiler, Shepherd, Husky, and finally a category labeled simply unknown. He was a genetic lottery ticket, a random, beautiful accident that somehow produced absolute perfection. "You're everything and nothing," Haley laughed, crying, "just like us." His husky blood manifested in his voice. Mackie was hilariously talkative, holding dramatic conversations in howls and grumbles. Tell him no, and he'd argue back. Leave for work, and he'd perform an operatic goodbye, a song of temporary heartbreak that made leaving both impossible and beautiful. When engagement photos were planned, Mackie's inclusion was automatic. At wedding venues, they asked one question: can our dog be in the ceremony? He wasn't a pet. He was family. That puppy on the steps had been nothing, discarded, a question mark with blue eyes. But being abandoned became his greatest gift. It led him to Haley, to a family who celebrates his 50-pound lapdog status, where his howls are music and his presence heals wounds. He became proof that being thrown away sometimes means being found by the right hands. Mackie was never trash. He was a miracle waiting for someone brave enough to see him. What if broken things are just waiting for the right person to see their beauty? Tell me what you think.